I do think it's more one-sided, but maybe that's unfair. I think stand-ups kind of look down at improv. Now, in a way, some of that's kind of warranted because bad improv is so fucking bad, you know.
Yeah.
And when improv is bad, it's also something you didn't prepare for. This is something you told people to come to watch you do, and you did no preparation. So if somebody watches you bomb at stand-up, it's like, oh, you really tried, you know?
You sound great. You look great. I mean, no, but like I was saying, you know how many of these fucking podcasts I've done where the guest is like basically in a closet? Like, what's happening?
Oh, yeah. Wait, are you recording already?
Oh, I'm recording.
Oh shit! Then what? I walked away. I'm sorry. I didn't know.
Nah,
Did we
it's cool.
start or we're just recording?
It's not live, so I can edit all this out.
All right. I mean, if you want to keep it, that's fine. I just didn't even know. I didn't even know we were rolling.
This is going to be the intro of the episode.
I've heard other podcasts where they do that. You know, where they're like, did we start?
Yeah, I've started doing that just to see, because sometimes I lose some gold from people.
I know.
You know.
No, it's smart. I dealt with that on my podcast as well, where we're like, shit, we have to repeat something because especially when we were like, whenever we were chat wrestling, there's something beautiful about your initial reactions to wrestling.
Right. Yeah. Otherwise, they're prepared responses after you've let some time happen. You're thought about it. You're like, oh, I know what I'm gonna fucking say about this.
Fuck yeah.
Anyway, let me do a proper intro just in case.
Give me a proper intro, dude.
Give you a proper intro.
I'm not in the zone yet because I didn't hear you glorify me.
Fucking comedians, they need their whole fucking.
I need it.
All right, this guy, you've seen him on late night with Corden and
the late show with James
the
Corden.
late show.
Rest
James.
in peace.
Is he? Oh, it ended, right?
It ended last Thursday.
Oh,
yeah.
Fuck. It's I mean, how long has that show been on the air?
8 years. They did 8 seasons over there.
All right. Yeah. Well, all right. Welcome, everyone, to the RRBG podcast. I am here with comedian, as I mentioned before, as seen on TV, in the late show with James Corden.
The Triple H show.
The Triple. And the host of Comedians of Wrestling, or the Cow Pod, if you will.
Yeah.
The Cow Pod. Is that still going?
The Cow Pod is on hiatus. I'm focusing more on my live shows lately.
Yeah. It's because you can't handle all the wrestling news. There's so much fucking wrestling news.
I mean, there's a lot to it. I mean, I love, you didn't finish your intro. Why am I?
I'm sorry. Go on. Host of the Cow Pod. You've also seen him on Last Improv Show with huge names, huge over-the-top names like Bob Odenkirk and Seth Rogen and Mr. Dan Black. How you doing?
Hey,
buddy?
Eddie. Thanks for having me, man.
I love how long it took us to get through this intro.
Yeah, that was great. That's fine. You're keeping it light. Well, this is your show.
That's
by the way, I love being on other people's shows because I just, I'm in your house. Tell me what to do.
So do you feel more do you feel more comfortable answering than like trying to? Obviously, you got to like prepare and study whatever it is you're gonna say.
Probably at this point, I'm way more comfortable producing and hosting my own shit because I'm just so used to it. I'm used to kind of being in charge,
Yeah.
It's with the stuff that I do, but. There's always a relaxed element where I'm like, hey, I just come here, talk to you, and then that's it for me.
That's right. That's right.
Nice,
Yeah, I've been trying to get on more pods, but I'm not well known enough. I'm not, even though the shows are doing well. It's just like, hey man, can I do your show, please? And it's such an awkward conversation always because we need to do that. We need to do other people's shows. We need to network to
100%.
get it out there. So it's but it's always such an awkward conversation, dude. Have you ever had like you've tried to approach somebody to be a guest on your show or something and it go weird?
Yeah, all the time. I mean, by the way, you're a wrestling guy. You want to hear? That's really funny you ask that. So I like 3 weeks ago, I was in Starbucks, and I was actually having like like let's call it a business meeting. Me and my buddy we're doing for my stage show you mentioned, Last Improv Show. We had a meeting, but we're at Starbucks, and dude walks in, and I recognized his tattoo on his neck, and then I'm like, oh shit, that's CM Punk.
Oh shit.
So
I thought you were gonna say the roller coaster.
No. That tattoo I would have recognized from 5,000 miles away. If I would have seen that tattoo, that is the bro. So, I mean, I assume all your listeners know exactly what you're talking about, right? Cody
I hope so, and if not, too bad, fuckers.
Yeah, of course. Well,
get on board.
Cody's neck tattoo. God, I mean, I can go on a whole tangent about Cody, but that neck tattoo has really grown on me. I mean, that has aged like a fine wine from the first time he walked out. It was at an AEW pay-per-view, right?
Yeah.
It was probably the pay-per-view right after the All Out where he smashed the throne, probably around then.
With the sledgehammer, yeah.
Around then. I don't remember exactly, but I remember being like, "Oh my god, like that's cool. He got like a temporary tattoo for the pay-per-view." But you know what I'm saying? Nope. I was like, then when he revealed that was real, yeah. But then, like, since then, the journey he's went on, you're like, what a fucking badass to commit his logo on his neck. He's, that tattoo on your neck. He's got pale ass skin. It is so prominent.
Yeah, it's jarring to the sight.
Yeah.
When he first came out, I was like, what the fuck? Unfortunately, I'm the big ass nerd where I already knew about it before the pay per view. Like the Twitter was posting pictures and shit. So I was like, oh, what did you do, Cody? It's also grown on me.
See it. I saw it right when he came out of the fucking entrance, one of those two tunnels at the time.
Yeah, and I remember this happened like right after he had mentioned that he wanted to get into politics. I'm like, well, not anymore.
Yeah,
that's out the door. I mean, who knows? Maybe times change. Times are changing. You know how it is. But so yeah, tell me about a weird we were talking.
So CM Punk. So my show, Last Improv Show, we have guest monologists on the show. Like it's an improv show. Check it out. It's every second and fourth Friday at the Dynasty Typewriter in LA.
I need to go to one. I haven't gone yet, but every time I see your lineups and I see your videos, I'm like, what am I doing? Why am I not there? What's going on?
Well, the wrestling in me knows the fact that you feel that way that's 80% of the battle, right? Like just the sell.
Yeah, right. That's right.
Where you're like, yo, it looks like something you got to go to.
Yeah.
So, but I so CM. I mean, have you met CM Punk?
I have not. I'm not a big fan.
Are you? I was going to ask. So I don't know where you stand on him.
I'm not a fan.
Okay.
I am vocal about it.
Okay. Right. So you're anti-CM Punk. My thing is like I'm neutral, right? Like when it comes to wrestling, I just it's not comedy. I'm not a professional wrestler. I'm not involved in this business. So for me, it's what entertains me. What is, as they say, best for business. So in my mind, like I'm just like, yo, I'm a fan of CM Punk because he fucking shakes it up. Now, does that mean that like every decision he's ever made, whatever, I don't know, whatever. All I know is that like, well, whatever happened, boy, oh boy, if he comes back, the him and Kenny feud will be really cool. That's how I think in wrestling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean that whole story, if they played it right with the whole brawl out situation, they could make a lot of money, and I'm all for it. Like, go for it, man. I'm not going to stop them from doing that. I'm just not a big, like, I just want it to happen already so he can go away. Just go away.
I want him to stay around forever. I love CM Punk. I just as in terms of as a wrestling talent, but that's irrelevant to when you cross over versus being a mark into real life, because I'm in this Starbucks and CM Punk's there, and I'm there with my buddy, Neil Casey. And I'm like, hey, that's CM Punk. He's not a wrestling fan at all. So he's like, I don't know who that is, And I'm like, yo, I gotta ask. I want to see if he'll come do monologues on the Last Improv Show,
Sure, yeah,
and,
of course.
So, but like also, I don't want to bother the dude, But
you don't want to be a Punisher. Yeah,
the barista calls out Phil, so I'm like, oh shit, that means he's gonna leave, so I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna go up to him. So I go up to him and I'm like, hey, just I'm a big fan. I've been watching you for a long time. I have a show. It's here in LA. I promise it's legitimate. Like, we have really good guests on the show. Like, you know what I mean? Which is like, there's nothing you could say to come off as legitimate, especially to pro wrestlers, I feel like. Because
in Los Angeles.
Yeah, like pro wrestlers are just approached by so many marks all the time. You know what I mean? That they never know. It's just different than other kinds of entertainers in that way.
Yeah, and it's got to be weirder for him as well during this time where, like, it feels like people are being more ballsy in public. You know what I mean? Like, a mark that really, really hates him. Like, same with me. Like, I don't like him, but if I saw him at Starbucks, I'm going to say hi. I'm going to be cordial.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I know that there are fans out there that are crazy that'll just go up to him like, fuck you, punk.
Right.
Like, I'm sure he's probably on edge. You know what I mean?
And that's another thing is that, like, okay, so he has a reputation.
Yeah.
And for me, that's really what listen, I'm not nervous to talk to people. I deal with, not like bragging, but I deal with celebrities a decent amount in my life, because we're in LA, I'm in this business, whatever. It doesn't make me nervous because it's just, you start being part of the thing. You know what I mean? But CM Punk, I'm like, all right, he's got a reputation for being a little bit of a jerk. I'm going to ask him for something,
Yeah.
And he's right in the middle of one of the most controversial periods of his career,
Yeah.
And I am coming in peace, I do think my show is something that he would be interested in, right? Because he's like in LA to deal with, like, there's big comedic names on this show. So I was like, you know what? This is kind of worth it. But boy, oh boy, if it went sour, I was going to, like, be very upset about it. So I knew it was high risk, high reward, So I go up to him and I'm like, hey, I'm a big fan for a long time. Like, I was at your first match, your ECW match in Hammerstein Ballroom. You know what I mean? That. And then I'm like, I have a show. It's legitimate. And then he looks at me and he's like, takes out the earbuds and he's like,
oh no,
what's going? So he didn't hear any of it.
Oh no, he missed the initial pitch. Oh no.
So I had to do it again.
Oh,
you know what I mean? So yeah. So I do it again, and I'm like, hey, but it's like so sad because I'm like, I promise I'm legit, Like, you ever say to somebody, I promise I'm legit?
I promise, bro.
And he kept being like, where's the show? And I'm like, Dynasty Typewriter, really cool theater. This, not like this. I'm like, look, check it out at Last Improv Show. If you're interested in it, shoot me a DM. Like, that's it. You know what I mean? And he was like, hey, man. And he, by the way, he was so fucking cool about it. I acted like a bumbling fucknut, but he was like, oh yeah, I'll check it out. Yeah, I'll check it out. And I was like, he's like, hey, I'm trying to keep my mouth shut a lot, like nowadays, but you know what I mean? Like, and then he just walked out.
Right.
But then I had a mutual friend follow up with him, and seems like he's open to it. But I got no date. I got no dates in stone.
I think he's waiting for some stuff to cool off.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe I don't know, but he would be I mean, God, he's got stories to tell,
Absolutely, man.
So anyway, I hope if he hears this the show is friendly to Phil Brooks.
Yeah,
and if he wants to come on the show, no problem. I'm actually, I'm a fan. I think he's best for business. Now, you were saying that AEW, if they told that story and they botched it right, like if they got it right, that would have been good. But does AEW really get a lot right in that way?
No, that's
their
biggest.
They really struggle to do any kind of like real successful long-term storytelling, and with a couple of exceptions, they seem to really not be able to like consistently nail a character either.
Yeah, it's rough, dude. They have they botch a lot of their debuts for sure.
Yeah.
Like fucking Jay White. How is that not a bigger debut? How is he just running out mid-match or mid-intro of a match? Like, he's the fucking Switchblade. That should have been a big deal. but whatever.
Yeah, but also
hottest free
pretended
agent
that he wasn't in the Forbidden Door match also.
Right, that's true.
Like it wasn't an actual, like he has been in AEW before.
Well, yeah, but technically he was representing New Japan.
Right,
so
he was representing New Japan, but it's like that is part of something I watched. So it just was a little bit like, but yes, I agree. Like the Switchblade, they had a really cool work going when we thought he was going to go to WWE, but he popped up on AEW, and then they didn't really blow that out.
The most worky work was Dax Harwood, which posted a story on Instagram with there was like a bottle of something, tequila, and then there was a piece of paper on his desk, and you could only see like a little smidge of the WWE logo, like a little corner. And he just posted that, and everybody was like, "What the fuck? He's good. He's looking at a WWE contract for sure."
Dude, you remember how bad I'm jumping all around. I don't know if you have an actual topic you wanted to get to, but I didn't think so. But remember how bad the Keith Lee work was, where he pretended he was on his honeymoon, but then everybody was like, "Yo, these are exact vacation photos from a year ago." And then he debuted on AEW, and then because of that, he went fully gray in like 4 seconds.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with his new thing. Is he a wizard? Is he a wizard? Is that what's happening?
I don't know. His beard, he went gray like in literally overnight. Correct?
Yeah.
Like,
and he's got a what happened?
Ghost.
He stopped dyeing his hair.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah. I don't think he went gray. I think he just dyed his hair. Like, he stopped dyeing his hair.
How dumb I am.
Yeah, he just stopped using Just for Men for a couple months.
Yeah, he looked like he was dyeing that beard. He didn't really look. I never noticed. I normally clock it, but I didn't clock it on him.
It's getting better. It's getting better. I mean, look at Bobby Fish. If he doesn't touch up before every television appearance, that dude is white like Santa Claus. Yeah. Really? I've seen pictures of him like off duty, and boy. Whew.
You watch Succession?
Yes.
Dude, Jeremy Strong is a gray.
Oh yeah.
And if you see him outside of the show, he's like got full salt and pepper. But on the show, they dye him, and then some shows it looks really good. And then some eps, you could tell they really dyed his hair black.
I haven't noticed that. I'm gonna have to watch.
Well,
closer.
I didn't notice it until. It's amazing how many things you won't notice until you have a reason to. I saw him in an interview, and then I was like, "Oh shit, I didn't know he was gray."
Yeah. Well, to go back to.
Yeah, go.
No, I was gonna say. Let's go back to.
I was gonna say something is so tangential, it's almost ridiculous. I just caffeinated up, so I'm sorry. I came on your show like a tornado.
That's fine. That's good. I need that because I'm tired. It's been a week, and it's gonna be a week because it's Cinco de Mayo, and I work in the beer biz.
Oh, you're working in the beer biz. Oh yeah, you got a beer, right?
Ooh, I do have a beer. Yes,
that's dope.
Josh Barnett's Black Blood of the Earth is available now at Gorilla Mall in Alhambra, California. If you're listening right now, go get one.
That's awesome. I love Josh Barnett.
Yeah, dude. I've been trying to launch this beer series and collaborate with people. I was talking to Mark Norman on a beer, but he's a busy boy. Yeah. But I do want to do some more comedian beers, do some wrestlers, do some bands. You know what I mean? Just the stuff that I'm into.
Wait, so you brew your own beers?
I mean, I work with breweries. I have brewed. The recipes are usually mine, but it's more of a collaborative effort with the brewery at that point. Like I just show up, we taste what they got going on. I'm like, all right, what do we do? This, and this.
Wow.
All these are my creations back here somewhere.
That's dope. I love beer.
Ooh.
That's it. It's not that interesting. I love beer. I hate wine. Yeah, wine is just. The whole
I used to be a big. I used to
be
a big wino until I got into craft beer for sure.
Yeah.
But
how's the Stone Cold beer? Is it good?
Oh, you haven't had it?
I mean, I've had it, but I'm not a connoisseur. I don't even.
Oh, you want to know if it's actually good? Okay.
Yeah, like I trust other people's taste. Like I tell people I have no palate when it comes to like food and drink. I'm like a quantity guy. If the glass is big, I'm happy. You know what I mean? Like I like my favorite food is like family style Italian, just because like the plate is big. I love to eat. But like, I think my allergies are so fucked up. I don't smell anything. I don't taste anything. You know.
Do you think you have a deviated septum? Maybe you haven't checked out.
I think I do. The doctors one time said something to me, and I wasn't paying attention.
People have that without noticing, man, or without even a major injury to cause it. It just happens from like maybe sleeping on it for years on the same like angle or whatever. You know.
There was something that happened where they were like, you might have a deviated septum. I also like I breathe. All right, this is what happened. I was on like a conference call, okay?
Okay.
And everybody was on there, and I was just listening, They stopped the call because they're like, who's breathing like that? And like they were all in the conference room, like one of those spiders, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
or whatever the fuck they call them. And I had to be like, oh, that's me. And they were like, yeah, well, it sounded like you were jerking off.
Oh, no.
Because I got the Tony Soprano breath, but I'm not heavy like that.
Okay.
But I'll be like,
you don't think it's part of it's growing up in New York and all the horrible smells and like Newark and sewage and shit and the Atlantic, whatever, and the fucking Hudson River?
Very possible. I lived in Manhattan for like 12 years, so
Were you born there? Are you from New York?
From Long Island.
Long Island.
Yeah.
So you're an MJF guy, I assume.
Not only am I from an MJF guy, my whole family lives in Plainview. My family, okay, and the last time I went, this is not the last time, that's a lie, but like one of the recent times I went back, I went to go work out in the gym that my parents belonged to, and I was working out with MJF. He works out in the gym when my parents are. So he says Plainview, Bethpage, Long Island. Yeah, I'm such an MJF guy. Not only that, you want to hear another story?
Yeah.
This is a story. I was at Grand Slam, the first one at Arthur Ashe, right? Okay.
Yeah.
And so I'm walking there, and I was wearing a Daniel Bryan T-shirt because that was still one of the best matches I ever saw live. I have a couple, but Daniel Bryan, Kenny Omega match that kicked off the first Grand Slam.
That's a great match.
Absolutely sick. That was one of the best matches I ever saw live. One of the best energies in a building I ever felt. But I'm wearing the Daniel Bryan thing, and I'm wearing a fake WWE title. Okay.
Oh no.
And I'm wearing that. Mark it out, because like when I mark out really hard. I'm in the merch line.
Oh,
so
wow.
I spent like well over $200 on merch. I got like the AEW New York hoodie, and the T-shirt, and the Daniel Bryan T-shirt.
Nice.
So I hear someone be like, "Yo, is that Dan Black?" And I'm like, "Yeah, what's up?" And I turn around. It's a dude I went to college with who I haven't spoken to. He was one of my frat bros. Okay.
Okay.
I haven't spoken to this guy literally since I graduated college, so that's like, I don't know the years, but like 15 years ago, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's like dressed in regular civilian clothes, like, and he's like, well, what's up, man? Oh, good to see you. Like, you like this shit?
But wait, isn't he there too? I mean, what the fuck?
Well, so I'm like, yeah, of course, bro. Good to see you. Yeah, no, I like this a little bit. I'm wearing a toy title around my waist. and he goes, oh, yeah, I'm just here to support my girlfriend's brother. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, who's your girlfriend's brother? He's like, oh, yeah, her brother's MJF. I was like, my friend dates MJF's sister.
Nice.
This is how, because I'm a Long Island Jew, exactly like MJF, same shit.
Yeah.
So the pride I have in this guy, Maxwell Jacob Friedman, to think that this high level of a pro wrestler could be just a Jewish kid from where I'm from, we would never think that. Like, 'cause if I knew that was even possible, I would be a pro wrestler. Like, this is pre-Daniel Bryan. Like, when I was watching wrestling, I was watching Randy Orton, man. You're like, okay, this is like, this guy's got no Jewish blood going through him. Like, this is like a huge, jacked fucking dude. He's not like, my grandparents are like 5'6", you know what I mean? So, like, to think that we can, I remember there was a time where you look at Edge and be like, he's way too small. Edge.
Yeah, him and the Hardys.
Yeah, Edge is now one of the biggest guys on the WWE roster. Okay?
It's wild that we've gone to this.
So to think that MJF, a dude from where I'm from, a Jewish guy, is gonna just go in there, like, and just play the gimmick that he's kind of a privileged Long Island kid. Holy shit, he's the best. He
is the best. He is the best heel in the business for sure. He is the best heel in the business.
Is he the best heel? You think? What do you think? You think Roman, or you go MJF?
Actually, Dominic Mysterio is my pick.
Well, he went to prison. I mean,
dude, are you here? Did you watch Raw?
I didn't see Raw this week. No,
dude, the kid's on another level. It got even crazier. They didn't even let him talk. They were giving him. They were giving nothing. He came. They did the judgment. They did a. They're blah blah. We're the Judgment Day, and he came out. And he was like, let me tell, and everybody boo, and like he would put the mic down and like look around. And, and they're like, whoa, like they just wouldn't let him say a word.
He's getting so much heat,
dude. It's insane the amount of heat. It's
crazy.
Wild. I hope it stays after because they're gonna split them off now.
Right.
The Ray and Dom. I hope it stays. Like that.
Dom's over. There's no question in terms of the heat, but I do think he stinks.
He's green as fuck.
Any kind of physique. I mean, the guy, has he ever been to a gym? I mean,
well, he's working out now with Sheamus. He's been posting that.
I saw he's in there with McIntyre and Sheamus, but it feels like he just feels like he's doing a TikTok and leaving. I mean,
because he's doing hard time, man. Come on, leave Dom alone.
He's got one of the worst physiques in wrestling history.
Whew. But yeah, okay. Look, Roman. I don't even consider Roman a heel, to be honest.
I know because he's like a god more than a heel, right?
Yeah, he's beyond it at this point. All he does is stand there, and like people can boo all they want, but the second he says the name of their city, that's a babyface pop. You know what I mean?
No question. I mean, Roman's the #1 wrestler in pro wrestling. It's not even close right now. I mean, it's just is what it is. I mean, he's killing it. A lot of it booking, yes. But it's irrelevant, you know.
Well, he also transformed himself because I hated him. I was one of those jerks that was mad when he came back from leukemia.
Oh my God!
I was like, damn it.
Well, to be fair, I mean, by the way, I've been to 7 WrestleManias.
Oh wow!
I was at 35. That's when he wrestled Drew McIntyre, in his leukemia ribbon shirt. That's when he came back, right?
Yeah.
And like, you know what? That shit was botched as fuck. His return from cancer was botched like crazy, And they learned from it. My gripe with Roman will always just be, simply put, I paid thousands of dollars to watch him main event probably 5 WrestleManias in a vest. Like, I mean, it's absurd. It's absurd that he was failing at such a high level. It was so fucking annoying. Now that led to my favorite Mania moment I ever was at, which was the Rollins cash-in. Oh,
you were there for that?
That's awesome. I was there. I was there. That was my first Mania, and then so that'll always be my gripe with Roman, is that like, how many Manias do you need to become great? But he is great, so it's odd.
It took him a little longer than Hulk Hogan, I guess, or whatever. But I don't know. He got there. He was
out of shape. I mean, listen, I'm a body guy, clearly, But that all being said, I sound like a jerk. But I also, I do the work. I'm in the gym every single morning myself. You know what I mean? Yeah. I should not be more jacked than a WWE superstar, is how I feel. Now, that doesn't mean that there's not different body types and whatnot, but what is Dom Mysterio's body type? That's called not going to the gym. And I'll go even further. I eat Nutrition Solutions, right? Which is the same meal prep company that Rey Mysterio eats, that I believe Dom eats also. And Edge eats, Roman eats. You can see Jinder Mahal. Can you see the back? My side picture.
Is that your favorite? Is that your favorite heavyweight champ?
It's the #1 heavyweight champ of all time. No, he mailed that to me because I signed up for the meal service, And then they said, "Who was your reference?" And I wrote WWE champion Jinder Mahal, and then he mailed me a signed fucking photo.
Nice. That's awesome.
So I'm saying the kid's born. He's born into wealth. He's born into legacy, and he looks like shit.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what it is. Maybe he needs a new trainer. Maybe go see what's his name, Joshy G, the guy that trains like Rollins and the CrossFit guy. He does, I think, Finn Balor too.
Yeah.
Go see somebody.
It'll only take him like in 2 years. He'll look awesome.
Yeah, like he's not fat.
And his dad's Ray's all juiced up. So just like, you know what I mean? Like Ray looks great. Just get your son juiced up. He'll be a huge star.
He's already
a huge star, but I'm just talking,
He's going to be the next Roman Reigns, dude. You watch. He's going to be the next top heel in the business.
You think so?
You'll see.
Here's what I'll say. He is a handsome guy. Like, he's got a great look. The hair, like he's got a great look. It's just everything else. He looks like I'm going all in on this. Sorry, Eddie. I don't know if this is even what you wanted to talk about today, but
not at all.
He looks like when my nephews, when I show up to my brother's house, like after 7 p.m. and they're in their pajamas already. Yeah. You know, when his gear looks like he's like my nephew dressed up like Spider-Man. You know what I'm saying? The same material.
I like the tassels that he added to the pants. Those give it a layer that I'm okay with. Yeah, I mean, dude, hey, look, from where he was when he was just Ray's kid tag partner champion, which didn't matter at all. Like, he's got something now at least.
Yeah.
You know, he does need to stop saying deadbeat dad because I'm over it. But I think that's what's getting him the heat. Every time he says it, people are like, shut up.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right. Let's go back real quick to your comedy. I want to talk about what you're doing with the Last Improv Show. I mean, how'd you put all this shit together, man? How are you getting the type of talent you're getting? Because like anybody could be like, I'm going to do an improv show, and you can have maybe some of the door guys from the Comedy Store or something.
Yeah.
But the type of people you're bringing in A-listers from Hollywood. How'd you get there?
Well, I'm trying to get a couple door guys.
Are they above A-list at this point?
I'm trying to get some of the A-list door guys. Hey, there probably are some A-list door. There's tons of A-list door guys, right? They were door guys at the store. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, Jet Ski Jessie Johnson. She's now on tour with Bobby Lee and Andrew Santino. She's still a door guy.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So there's people out there that are door guys that are killing it. I mean, Alex Duong, he's doing TV stuff now. So, you know, it is. But, you know, again, how did you come up with this, and how did you get to this point?
Yeah, I mean, I came up at Upright Citizens Brigade Theater.
Okay. UBC.
I was when I right out of college, I was doing improv in New York
UCB,
City.
Sorry.
What's up?
UCB, not UBC.
UCB. Yeah, UCB. But I came up in New York, so I was doing improv there, and that's kind of like I went to school, but like when I got to UCB, like that was my real schooling. You know, I always tell this people when I first started studying improv comedy, that was the first time I understood what it means to be like a true student.
Yeah.
I like adored it. You know, I was showing up into the basement of UCB, and I was going like every night of the week at that time, and I'd get in there watching everybody. I mean, they're all famous now. It was like Ellie Kemper, Ben Schwartz, people I performed now, John Gabris. I mean, everybody. Bobby Moynihan.
Nice.
Amy Poehler would be there, you know, and so. It was a crazy time. I mean, it was so the work they were doing there was so funny with improv. So I was like, I must do this. And then I just dedicated like 12 years of my life, essentially, probably to like I was in there taking classes, trying to get on something called Herald Night. If you guys know what that is, I'm giving you the abbreviated version of it, which I'm not great at. I speak too much. But
that's a wrestling promo in you.
Yeah. Then I worked my way up where like you perform on Herald Night, then you can ask to be perform on the weekend team. So I was doing Saturday night. I got asked to join actually like my favorite improv team of all time. They asked me to join, which is probably one of the honors of my life. Like probably whatever I achieve in my life, probably I'll go back to that as my favorite moment of my life. You know what I mean? Yeah, I joined that. Then I was playing on ASCAT, which is on Sunday nights. That's Amy Poehler's show. That's the UCB Ford show. That's like Matt Besser, Matt Walsh, Ian Roberts. That's their show. So I was performing on that show. And then from that I met a bunch of great improvisers, that I would perform with forever. And we have a real bond, And so we all kind of moved to LA over the years, and then we went, we all got scattered to the winds because of the business. We're all working on other things. And then as the pandemic was coming to a close, I was like, or whatever, perceived close, because who knew when that thing was over? It was so.
I mean, it's still going.
Yeah, right. I mean, like
we just stopped caring.
right. Like I kind of have no idea like where we're at on that, and that was kind of hard to gauge. So I just was like, you know what? I just was like, I want to start an improv show with the people that I miss. It was kind of as simple as that.
Nice.
And then I just spoke to the Elysian Theater here in LA. It's a great space, and I emailed everybody like, hey, would you want to get the band back together? Because it was like none of us lost touch or anything, and we were performing before the pandemic. We just weren't a unified group in that way, and everyone was like, yes, everyone was very excited to perform again, and then that was kind of the rest is history. I mean, we would start performing, and every show was sold out. We haven't had one show that hasn't sold out, which I'm like crazy grateful for. It's nuts,
That's awesome, dude.
And we were doing it at Elysian. We moved over to Dynasty Typewriter, and then it spiraled. I think word of mouth. People were into it, thought it was funny.
Yeah.
We followed that exact format that we had done in ASCAT, which was like have a guest monologist. I'd work with my producing partner, Christina Kalf. She was very instrumental in like helping us get the monologist talent as well. Like we were both like, hey, I think we can get people who would want to come in, and then the show had a good reputation, so people were just kind of open to doing it. It's really kind of as simple as that. You know what I mean? But it really comes down to I think the quality of the show is really funny. So I think people are like, oh, that looks like a good crew.
A good time.
But every one of the cast, are people we've all performed together forever. So it's not like, I think some people, if they don't know, they might think it's like, oh, this is a hodgepodge of famous people, we have like Nicole Byer on the show and like Darcy Cardin and people who are they're big names, but we all just came up doing improv in basement for $0. Literally perform at underneath a Gristedes, which is a grocery chain in New York, and there would be actual shit dripping on our heads, like pipes that would like leak on us,
Gross.
So to us, so I think it's funny because a lot of people see the show and they're like, how do you, like, your question is like, how do you book these talent? And I'm like,
just grow up with them.
I mean, we all came up together doing this shit,
Yeah. Now, is there? I mean, I'm on the outside. I'm not a stand-up comedian. I'm also not any. I mean, I do write stuff, but I'm not in that world. I wouldn't call myself that. But there is, from the outside, I can feel that there's like a weird beef between improv comedians and stand-up comedians. Is that a thing?
No.
No? Okay.
No. Well, no and yes. So, like, I say no in the sense that I also do a ton of stand-up. I did stand up on the late show. What did we call it earlier?
Yeah, the late show with James Corden.
Man, I mean, I mean, I would say there's not. I don't think there's an actual beef between the two. I do think it's more of like I do think it's more one-sided, but maybe that's unfair. I think stand-ups kind of look down at improv. Now, in a way, some of that's kind of warranted because bad improv is so fucking bad, Yeah. And when improv is bad, it's also something you didn't prepare for. This is something you told people to come to watch you do, and you did no preparation. So if somebody goes to watches you bomb at stand-up, it's like, oh, you really tried. So people are less upset at that. Yeah.
Some people, right. I punish myself by watching Kill Tony on Mondays, and it's like the cringiest watching some of these people get up there just to be on a mic on stage. It's painful.
Yeah.
Oh.
I never done Kill Tony. I one time put my name in. I happened to be at the store. I think I was maybe doing potluck, and someone was like, come do this thing, put your name in. And I didn't really know what it was. And then I left, and they called my name.
Shit.
So it was my only experience at Kill Tony. I'm sure it's a great show. I didn't, but yeah. So anyway, I think all in all, it's so I think
it seems to me
it's
like
a cheap punchline for stand-ups to like rip into improv too. It's like, and I'm like, listen, my advice I tell anybody is like, those walls are so silly. My improv is like my greatest weapon as a stand-up, I'm so grateful for that training that like I can't even imagine doing stand-up without it. That doesn't mean you have to have that by any means, but to diminish the value of improv is just absolutely silly. Literally, the club you perform in is called the Improv. So I don't know,
right.
you know. So that's a little dumb. So anyone coming up, I'm always like, you should be doing both. And that doesn't mean that if I want to be a stand-up, you need to have like very lofty goals with improv. But even taking a couple improv classes will help your stand-up. The looseness of being on stage, people smell it. You know?
Yeah.
So
I mean, some of my favorite comedy is like crowd work, which is combination. It's improv, basically.
Crowd work is improv.
Yeah. I love crowd work. Rick Ingram is one of the best at the store. When I see him every night, he just pops up and starts ripping on the crowd, and it's like he just crushed for 15 minutes, whatever it is, with nothing that he wrote. It's all just stuff that happened in front of him. Where are you from? And then boom, it just blows up from there.
Yeah, and I improvised like my basic, like my crowd work for the Last Improv Show at the top. There's no difference with that. And when I'm doing stand up, I need it so I don't get too bored. But my background with improv is interesting because I also adore like the switch from I'm gonna do scripted bits and make them come off like organically or deliver jokes that way, like scripted jokes and make them laugh. I love it too. I love it all. I love doing, I really, I want to do everything. I'm one of these people, like, I wish I had like 25 lives, but unfortunately I have no, I'm actually an atheist, so whatever. But, like you talk about the store and you're like, oh, I wish I had another life where I had time to like do the store proper, but I came
become
up
a paid regular.
Yeah. Like, I'm like, cause I want to do it all. I did the belly room the other day. It was such a great time.
Hunkamania?
No, I did Hulkamania. I'd done that, but I did 7-Eleven. I did Cole Garrett.
Oh, right,
and
7-Eleven,
Mac
yeah.
Not one show. That was a fucking blast. Yeah. So there is. It's a line that I'm one of the rare people who crosses it. Not to like toot my own horn, but are there that many? I'm not sure if there's many improvisers like or people who improvise as regularly as I do who have also like do stand up as much as I do. There's not really. I might be like one of the only ones.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, it seems to me like improv comedians end up taking the route of making movies and doing or doing skit shows like SNL or whatever it may be. So maybe that's what it is. Like they get into improv and it just kind of leads them down the route of television as opposed to you're grinding it out on both ends. Like you're doing improv, but you're also doing spots at stand up.
Yeah, I mean. Totally. It's I think for me for me in particular, yes, like a lot of my peers are more into writing and acting than touring and doing stand up. For me, I always wanted to be like as a kid, like if you look at my 5th grade yearbook when we graduated elementary school, it's like what do you want to be, like comedian? Like I always knew I wanted to be a comedian,
Yeah.
So I think it always, for me, it's like I always was like, oh, I want to do stand-up. I've always wanted to do that as well, but I got pulled in the direction of improv, and that's because I love that too. But it always irked me, like I must go back to stand-up. And now I love the place I'm in my life where I do both. Like my week, on last Thursday, I did an indie show, a great show, Ellen Harold's show, Abbott Kidding. It's on Abbott Kinney. It's called Abbott Kidding.
Okay.
I did that. It was like in the back of a bar in Venice. So fun. And then the next night, I did Last Improv Show at Dynasty Typewriter. Sold out. We had Jaleel White as the monologist, And I got to do a show with fucking Urkel. And it was improv. And then Saturday night, I did the store. Stand-up, So like that for me, that I get to perform in that way, and I feel like I do a good job on all of it. The audience is the true gauge of that. You'd have to ask them. That makes me happy because I there was a time where you think like the industry kind of makes you feel like you do one or the either or the other, and that is part of that like beef, because it is like foreign. Like I don't know all the people at the store. I'm not all I don't. I don't know all that because I do other things, but I adore it all.
Yeah, I mean, so is this the end game for you? Not the end game, but like, is this what you wanted to be doing, or you're enjoying this, but you have other you want to do more movies, you want to do.
Bro,
like
I don't
TV?
know what my end game is. I'm still in my fucking Infinity War. I don't know what. I don't know what. I do not. I honestly, like, it's funny. Someone said that to me the other day. You're like, what is that? And I'm like, man, I should be way more focused on, like, what is that actual end game? I think thinking like that is too, like, finite and scary to me, and also it's too, like, unidirectional, where, like, it kind of, like, freaks me out. So I go, and you know, so I don't know. That's always ever changing for me, you know, but I think, like, yeah, I would love to act. Like, the other day, I did a voice on a cartoon. I can say what it was. I did a voice for a big animated cartoon for Fox or whatever. I don't know. It's not in air yet, so I won't say it, you know.
Okay,
but I'm sure I can, you know. And I was, like, in the booth, and I'm like, and it was so much fun. They had me do, like, 20 takes of this character, you know. And I was like, man, fuck, I want to do this. Like, I'm like, I love this. Like, I loved it, you know.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I want to do that, you know. So, and then I recently was hired to be the warm-up guy for a sitcom taping. You know?
Nice. Okay.
You know what I mean? And I was like, oh, my God, I love this. That's so fun. Like, you know, so they didn't want, like, there's the traditional warm-up guy. I'm not, like, a traditional warm-up guy, you know, because it was kind of an interesting pilot. And I was like, oh, my God. And then from that, someone was like, wow, they liked your energy. They might have a part for you in the thing. I was like, oh, cool. That'd be awesome. You know, but, like, I want to do so many things, and I would love to also tour as a stand-up. So I think, like, you know, for a long time, if I had to put it in perspective, I'm jumping all around. But I did, like, SNL was, like, my goal, you know.
Okay.
That's what I wanted to do. I was like, I want to be on Saturday Night.
Is that no longer a goal?
It's still a goal, but I auditioned 3 times and they weren't having it. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
So it's like, it was kind of like, hey, I got seen. And
hey, man, just look at people like Drew McIntyre, you know, had a hard time, he got fired, and they back, and he's a champion. You never know.
No, that's what I'm saying. You never know, but I don't, like, focus on that specifically anymore. And I think, like, I don't do well when I focus on why am I doing this. You know, even if I look back when I was auditioning for SNL, if I'm, you know, like, I was like, oh, what do they need over there? And I'm not doing my best. I'm not giving them my best shit. I'm not giving them my best work because I'm not doing what I find to be the funniest version of myself and what, you know, excites me comedically, you know?
Sure.
So,
yeah.
Yeah. So, like, the goal was to do that. But I also always wanted to be on a sitcom. Like, I always wanted, like, Kramer was, like, my hero.
Oh, okay.
You know, just to, like, walk through a door and just be like, I had a day, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like, I mean, every time I watch those shows, I guess, because I don't know, I'm kind of like you, we're kindred spirits in that sense where I want to do everything too.
Yeah.
I just dip my toes in, like, completely separate industries sometimes, and you know, you're still in the world of comedy and entertainment, but, like, I'm like, maybe I want to make beer. You know what I mean? Like, maybe I want to host a pod. Maybe I want to do stand-up. Maybe I want to be a pro wrestler. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I mean, that's another thing. I struggle being a spectator in general, similar to, like, where I you know, like, with wrestling, like, I mean, I had, like, a 5-year stretch there. Listeners of my podcast will know, like, I was training as hard as I could. I was working on long-term storytelling, like, long-term angles with my friends. The championship of my podcast had a championship title.
Nice.
And I wrestled my friend in New York with Dolph Ziggler as the referee, and I was wrestling my friend who is he's a lawyer in Hoboken, New Jersey, and he stole the title from me, and I challenged him to a match WrestleMania weekend to get it back. Yeah, like, you know, because I was like, I had this, you know, so you know, I don't know, I do these wacky things where I do well when I follow my creative instincts, you know, but, you know, I don't know, when someone's like, what do you want to do, this and that, I don't know, I don't always have control over that. I kind of do what I feel is the best thing at the moment, you know? And that seems to do me well. I was like, oh, I feel like it's not. If you told me, because it's funny, because with the improv show, I know I'm jumping around. I'm always jumping around.
Yeah.
But with, like, my improv show, with Last Improv Show, 2 years before that, we were mid-pandemic, I probably told you I'm never going to do improv again.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I was like, I think that's it. Because I had wanted to be doing stand-up for a while. I was doing it pre-pandemic, and I had good momentum going with it, you know? I was already, like, talking to people about a late night set, which I eventually did do, and then I was like, I'll probably go post pandemic go into stand up because that'll be easier. I don't even know if improv as a thing will recover. And now I'm doing more improv than ever, and at the highest level I've ever done it, and the best improv work of my career. So like looking too far ahead does just not work for me, and it's not realistic. So like we're doing Last Improv Show. We're bringing it to the Kennedy Center in July.
That's huge.
We're doing 2 weeks at the Kennedy Center. Where we were with the pandemic, I was literally like getting divorced 2 years ago in the middle of a pandemic. Like you think that I would be there, So I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. We'll see.
Life is funny that way, especially when you're creative like yourself, where you put yourself out there like that. And it's important to just follow, like you said, follow your creative instinct, whatever makes you happy. And who cares about following us? Like, oh, you have to do the store, every night, every weekend. You have to do the, make sure you're doing 5 sets a night. Make sure you're doing the ha-ha and fucking third wheel. Like, no, dude, there's different ways to go about doing things in this life.
Yeah,
and you're killing it.
Totally. But it's very, it's very frustrating in that way because it's like, it's frustrating because I want to do it all. And sometimes I have to accept the fact that that avenue is probably, I don't have time for that right now. I might get to it later. And life has a funny way. You do get there, So like the Comedy Store is something like, if we're speaking specifically about that, where when I'm there the other night, I'm like, man, I would love to be getting up here more, but I don't. But fortunately for me, I have enough opportunities and things going on where I don't need to be spending all my time here because I have shows to do, which is very cool,
Yeah.
But
you don't want to go to
over there,
You don't want to go to Texas, dude.
So I don't.
Everyone's moving to Texas.
No, no, I don't want to move to Texas. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that I really love Los Angeles, which is crazy to say because I'm such a New Yorker, but I've been here a long time at this point, How
many years?
8 probably.
Okay. Yeah, I've been about 7-ish over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, this place rules. I'm sorry. Everybody sends me text messages because I'm from Miami. I was born in Jersey. Spent 15 years in Jersey, and then Miami for 20, and now I've been here for 7. And I get friends from back home like, you're in Los Angeles. When are you gonna get out of there? It's so expensive. I'm like, actually, making more money now. Everything's fine. I mean, yeah, there's homeless people, but aren't they everywhere?
Well, also you get what you pay for. I mean,
right? Yeah. The opportunities out here are ridiculous.
You get what you pay. I mean, listen, I'm not a defender of everything going on in LA. I have a lot of beef with this town. But are you telling me that if I move to Austin, I'm like, wow, I'm so free here, like this and that. I mean, Austin has it's got a ton of hidden taxes to begin with. It's very expensive over there as well. It's getting more expensive.
Oh, and the more people move, the more expensive it's going to get.
Yeah. And I mean, let's be real. The only part of Texas I would live in is Austin. Yeah. And that's just mini LA at this point,
Yep. Everybody's there from LA. I mean, it's most people from LA now over there. It's wild. And but I'm sorry, but you get to walk around with guns and no permit. It's cool. You're like the Wild West.
Yeah.
Like fucking Yosemite Sam.
Right. Well, I mean, like the PR on LA is so shitty, and I think a lot of that comes from all the pandemic, which is like not to say that LA handled the pandemic properly. I mean, like you could go back and be like, all right, I don't know, with some of the science, maybe some of this was overboard, blah blah blah. I don't know. I also don't. I'm not hung up on it like everybody is.
Right.
I think people were. I'm not as some people are so pessimistic. Like I don't think that everything that was happening was to take away your freedoms and this and that. I think we're all navigating.
We're all. You're a communist.
And
communist,
right? But so I'm not getting into the politics of LA. You know what I mean? Because I don't know nothing. When we were voting for mayor, everyone was like, vote for Karen Bass or whatever. I was like, all right, fine, I trust you guys, whatever. But then they're like, this other guy They're like, he's a nightmare. And they're like, but he built the Grove. And I'm like, you mean the only place I take people to when they visit? I'm like,
the farmer's market?
If you guys tell me he's so bad, that's fine. I'll believe you. So I didn't vote for him, you know what I mean? But like, so I don't actually know what I'm talking about.
Right.
But I know that living in LA, boy, oh boy, the bubble of artists and creatives that I'm surrounded by in LA that allow me to be me in a way that I could never be me in New York, you know, that is priceless. Like in New York, there's maybe call it I think David Cross called it the sea of delusion or whatever, but you know, and that's a negative way to spin it. But I think no, there's people here who are seeing there's more than one way to live life. Like you can live life. The rules are not binary, and I think that really works for me in LA. Even though in a lot of ways I'm pretty traditional, you know, in a lot of ways I live traditionally, but I like that I'm surrounded by people who are so fucking creative. I mean, I'm blown away. My friends, I'm blown away by the stuff they make, you know, and the fact that they're not counting themselves out at whatever age or living by any kind of time clock of oh, this, and you know, people have kids and they're still creative, and they, you know, that in LA, it's so beautiful. For some reason, maybe it's just the PR machine, or that LA does not fight back successfully against it, and maybe they're just who cares? We got enough people. Talk whatever shit you want. It's not like we're trying, you know. But for some reason, none of that is kind of portrayed to everybody.
Sure. Yeah. I don't know what it is, man. I mean, and I had conversations with people before they left to Texas, like Tony, for example. I've talked to Tony a lot. And, you know, it was like, oh, you got to move. You got to come to Texas. I'm like, no, dude. Don't you realize when all of you guys leave, you're just leaving openings for people like me? What are you doing? Get out of here. Give me that shot. Get out. Go.
I guess I was a little surprised. I don't know. I'm not as keyed into the whole migration. I think it was, if I'm, and tell me if I'm speaking out of turn, but this was because Joe Rogan went?
Yeah, pretty much.
Right? It was was it as simple as that?
Pretty much. As soon as he said, I'm out and I bought a place and we're gonna, when he announced that he was going to open up his own comedy's place or whatever.
Right. Like the mothership.
That was enough for everybody to be like, oh, I'm going over there. You know, and then once the first person went, then they were like, well, if he's going, I guess I should go. And blah, blah, blah. It just kept it was like a snowball effect where it just started taking more and more people. And, you know, people coming up to me about it. I'm just like, good, bye.
Right.
Fuck, that just means there's more spots at the store. What are you talking about? Don't go to Texas. Now everybody goes to Texas, and now you're small fish in the giant pool or whatever you call it, you know, and same here. It's still a huge pool, but a lot of the big fish moved.
I spoke to a kid the other night at the store who was from Austin. He was doing a guest spot on the show. I forget his name. He was a funny kid. I think his name was John Heft. I think his name was. So give him a shout out. He was funny, and he was talking about how he lives in Austin. And he was like, I'm getting up 5 times a night. Like you saying, the scene is thriving there in terms of stand up. So I'm like, good for you if that works for you. That's fucking awesome. You know?
Yeah.
Because the thing is I some days I cannot believe I moved to LA. I cannot believe it because I'm such a New York guy. You know, everyone I know is there. And I just can't believe I did it, and I'm so grateful I did, you know? So it's I'll tell anybody, move anywhere. Go move somewhere. You can always go back, you know?
Sure.
And we've seen a couple of people move back from Austin. They went, and they're like, I'm coming back, you know?
Yeah.
You know? So
everything's frozen in the winter and on fire during this summer.
That's my only thing is, I mean, I go to Texas a lot, and there's the interesting thing with Texas is I keep calling it the PR machine. I don't know exactly what I'm referring to, but it's more just the general, you know, the perception of the place. But Texas, the pride in Texas, it's, you know, it's been for a long time. They have such pride, you know, and they're kind of
cocky about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little annoying, but also I'm like, all right, I get parts of it. Texas is great. I'm not even knocking Texas. I've been to Dallas a bajillion times. I've had great times there. I've had great times. I've been to 3 WrestleMania. You know, there is a lot of beautiful things about Texas. It's just the blind spot to the flaws of Texas is something that we don't do. Like over here. Over here, I'm willing to tell you right now what I hate about LA. You know, I there's so many things where I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? You know?
Yeah, sure.
And yeah, I don't understand why they don't have proper help for unhoused people. Like, I don't get it. I don't get how, like, I came from New York. It was like, there's places for people to go. Here it's like, oh, well, you're just anywhere. And like, do I love that, like, when I'm walking my dogs, they're like, you know,
barking at your dog.
Yeah, like, that's what I'm saying. You know, I'm dead serious, man. You know, you're like, and I'm not diminishing the value of someone who's in that position, but I'm like, all the taxes we pay, all the money in this town, there's no places for people to go.
Yeah,
you know,
it's weird, man. And you hear stories like, oh, Shaq built a bunch of tiny homes for homeless, but doesn't seem to be helping LA.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? So now they're just going to turn that into Skid Row, I guess, and just move them. They're doing the George Carlin method. Just take a state and fence it off and throw them all in there, you know?
But okay, so that is all true about L.A. Like, that is true about L.A. But last time I was in Dallas, okay, I was down there, Deep Ellum, which is like their Brooklyn. You know, every city now has like their own fake Williamsburg.
Oh,
you know,
great.
Everyone has their own. You know, every city now is like, we're gonna make a Williamsburg, and they like put like, you know, they put like a Blue Bottle coffee in a paint, like an old paint facility or something.
A ramen
you know what I mean?
shop.
Like,
it's actually it's a whole warehouse, and it's filled with little tiny things. Like, here's a blue bottle and a ramen and a flower shop. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. So you're like, okay, but over there, dude, I literally was hearing gunshots over there. So you're like, but the Texas machine makes you think like, hey, nothing is bad here. I said to the guy, I was like, you know, I'm like, yeah, because I land off the plane. This happened the past 2 times I've landed in Dallas. I get in an Uber, or in Texas. I one time was Austin, one time Dallas. I get in an Uber, and you got to drive pretty far, and they're telling me how shitty my state is very comfortably right away, you know? And I'm like, well, you know Texas, you also have the most uninsured people. You know what I mean? You have the most poverty. You actually, if you look at your power grid just went out. Like, that's fine. You have problems too. Our state has problems too. Like, relax.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, it just don't. It's the weird, like you said. It's the weird pride. It almost feels like they're trying to cover up for how bad it is. You know?
Yeah.
No. Everything's good here. You don't got nothing to see here. It's good. We're good. Everything's fine.
And like the thing you cannot beat, when it comes down to it. I guess at my core, I am like a little bit of a New York, LA guy. I mean, at my core, I mean that's where the 2 places I've lived in my life. You know?
Yeah.
New York City, Los Angeles, you know?
Yeah, 2 big cities.
Man, like, I'm someone who wants to be doing art. I mean, I consider myself an artist, and I'm like, I will live in the hubs, like the true hubs, so I feel like I'm a real player. And you cannot take that away from L.A. or New York City. Like, that's where the true game changers are. You move to these other places when you've already made it.
Right, to retire
what
or
Joe Rogan
chill out.
did.
Yeah, exactly.
He was like, I'm not going to pay. I don't want to pay as much taxes because I have hundreds of millions of dollars, so I can live wherever I want, you know?
Yes, exactly, dude. I have friends in Utah and Montana right now. One of them in Montana keeps sending me videos. He's like, this is my front lawn view, and it's a lake, and it's beautiful, but it's just that. It's just nature all around. And I'm like, dude, I would kill myself. And he's like, what are you talking about? It's beautiful. It's nature. I'm like, it would take me 2 weeks for you to walk in, and I'm hanging from the ceiling, just fucking swinging. There's no way.
Well,
There's no way.
So I'll take that even a step further. That's it. Like, Montana, beautiful. You know, of course it's beautiful. And also, don't get me wrong, Austin is becoming like a real hub. So I'm not oblivious to that. You know that I understand that, especially for comedy and strictly for stand-up comedy and a specific voice of stand-up comedy, and that's terrific. I also don't care what line you stand on. I'm like, that's cool. If there's something that happens, so that's great. Austin deserves to be like the 3rd artistic hub. I think that would be a great thing. We could use more places. Okay. Sure. My buddy, during the pandemic, moved to Hawaii.
Oh no.
Okay, he lives in Hawaii, and he moved there, and he'll send me like like amazing like sunrises, this and that, and I'm like, bro, that's fucking to me. I'm like, that seems miserable. Like you know what I mean? Like because it's like. I mean, I don't know what happened to me. I hit some age where I think it's just because my life is like some version of perma vacation,
Yeah.
Even though it's stressful and this and that, but I'm never out of living my dreams. Like I don't have like I work a job that I fucking hate and that's it, and I raise kids that fucking annoy me, and I live to just pay the bills, and I'm like, I need a week in a fucking chair with a mojito and next to a beach. Like I don't live that life,
Yeah.
But I've hit a place where I'm like, I don't need no vacations. Yeah, sure, I need to unwind and this and that, but I'm not like, I gotta get away. So when you're like, I'm gonna perma go away, that is the death of me. That you might that's the equivalent of like fucking Castaway. I'd be like lost. Like the
putting yourself out to pasture and shit. Yeah.
So it's like people's perceptions are so different. So like Montana, even though it's Hawaii, it's a place you're like, when I was a kid, it's like, oh, wish you were here. Like, oh, I'm so jealous. Like, give me back that beach. I'm like, I never want to live to be like, oh my God, I have 6 nights of having a good time.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that I've never analyzed vacationing as that, like in your perspective, but it makes sense. It makes sense, dude. I mean,
vacationing. If you're living for vacations, you're fucking dumb.
Yeah. I don't get those people.
No. I take that back. You're not.
You're
dumb.
rich. You're rich.
You're not dumb. No. I want to take that back. I spoke out of turn because I was swallowing this water, so I shortcutted it. I'm saying you're not dumb, but I'm saying it's not for me. Everybody lives. Every life is valid. This is because I'm saying how I honestly feel. I don't even want to speak in hyperbole. Man, the comfortability of like a 9 to 5, and then you earn a vacation. Because there were times in my life where I did earn vacations. And feel like, man, I've really earned a vacation in that way.
Sure.
Where I'm gonna stop everything. I get that. That's beautiful. That is not at all for me, and I think it's not really for a lot of people who do it either. And that's it.
Yeah, man. No, I mean, for me, sometimes it's not a matter of I need a vacation. It's I want to go to Japan. And if I'm going to go to Japan for like a week, that means I have to go on vacation from like all of the things. Otherwise, I'm not going to enjoy myself because my brain's always going. So like even when I have a day where I'm just like, I just want to chill on the couch or something, it takes about 30 minutes before I'm on the computer working. You know what I mean? Like doing something, writing, or on my phone, like posting stuff on Instagram and, fucking doing the thing. You got to do the thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
But yeah, it's a weird mentality to have to want to live in that place, in Hawaii, in Montana. Like, yeah, that's beautiful. Maybe when I'm 80 and I don't have to do anything ever again. I could just fucking chill out, look at the pretty sunset. But while I'm here, I'm going to do stuff, man.
It's so bored, though,
It's so boring, dude.
But, like, my vacations are like going to WrestleManias. Like, that's
right, yeah.
Oh, my God. It's like, but that's like because I tricked my mind into like, oh my God, like this is so an important moment in history that I'm witnessing. Like this is Cody's coronation,
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? And you're like, oh shit, like, So I don't know, like we all live in our own version of bullshit. That's why I'm gonna say fucking dumb. I'm saying for me that I don't want to live like that, but like everything's a coping mechanism. Like everything is whatever perception that makes you comfortable, which is another synonym for coping mechanism.
Yeah, I've never had vacation where I come back refreshed. It's always I come back a disaster. Like I'm beat to shit. We went and did WrestleMania, or we did a concert. We went afterwards. We got drinks till 2 a.m, 3 a.m. It's never like chill on the beach.
That is the thing. Is like, man, at this point, I'm like, man, like. If I do something that veers me off my schedule too much, the recovery period is like not even worth it anymore.
Right. Yeah, there's that too. Yeah.
Where you're like, it's so hard to be in line with the shit that I want to do in life. Like, oh shit, I got to get, look, even just like, I get off stage for a couple nights, like to relax. The first time going back up is like, I've never done it before.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like in your mind is like, oh, I don't have the momentum. Like breaking that inertia constantly is so. That's why like comedians just do spot. Like when you have the ball rolling, it is like that's the spot to be in. Once you stop and then you go, oh, it's stressful.
Well, I mean, that happens in the ring too, man. When when the momentum slows down.
Yeah.
Look at what happened with Finn Balor and Edge. Everything was popping, and then boom, injury, and then everything stopped, and everybody's just kind of like, "What the fuck? This feels weird."
Oh yeah, totally. The wrestling injuries in wrestling, that's got to be so frustrating. Like that Cody injury had to be so frustrating for him. He comes back, and I mean, it worked out in his favor. Although, did it?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
He didn't win the title, and it gave Sami Zayn the opportunity to shine.
Yeah, so, I mean, I feel like it happened for a reason. A lot of people are upset about that. They're like, "Oh, what a bad choice! You ruined it. You ruined the moment." It's like you didn't ruin the moment. Cody's still young, and he signed a multi-year deal.
Yeah,
this should take a while because the way I envision it, once he becomes champ, he's out. Like shortly after.
No, you're 100% correct. Here's what I'll say about that. My thought is just like, the Thursday before I was doing a show, and I was doing the John Hennigan's show.
Oh right, the midnight show that he did.
Yeah. I was doing John Hennigan's like goofy show. It was really fun, and it was all wrestling chatter. And I was like, "Yo, like Roman must win, like he has to win." I was like, "Roman has to win because no one expects it's gonna happen, like because everyone's gonna think that they're gonna do the easy choice. It'll just be like." The best writing, Cody will come back, blah, blah, he's got time. Exactly everything you said. I was like, it's the right move. And it's just like, God, they've never had the WWE title be this significant in so long, Yeah. They just haven't had it. It's been the biggest problem in WWE. Is like you have a real title happening here and a true champion,
What are your thoughts on the World Heavyweight title coming back? Are you on the it's a consolation prize side of the fence?
Yeah, I don't like just taking it off Roman for no reason. Like they just like changed the title. I'm not crazy about it. I wish there was a more. I know they don't want Roman to lose, so they're kind of backed into a corner or whatever. But I'd rather Roman like say he booked a project or something, or I don't know. It just seems a little like I don't know. But I like the title. It looks nice.
I like the title, too. A lot of friends are complaining. It says it looks ugly. I'm like, dude, it looks much better than the toy that Roman's carrying around. That's a marketing fucking branding.
Timing was good.
Yeah, I think it's good.
But it does fuck up. See so what I was gonna say is that the point I was making is that when I was at Mania night 2, and the match was going so much better than I expected. Like it was so hot in there. Like it was so hot. Like. And there was no at the time there was no schmaz, and the match was so fucking over. I was like, man, this. And then once they schmazed the match up, I knew Sammy and the Usos had to come in, but then they did the second, Sika like the spike,
Yeah.
I was like, and then Roman won. It felt bad in the wrong way. Like I was like, oh. I know I'm getting worked. You're always getting worked because you're a mark and like whatever, blah, blah, blah. But I was like, I don't know. I felt like I was witnessing such a cool moment. And it was really working. I'm nervous about recreating what was happening here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then again, a couple days later, I was like, nah, that was dope.
Yeah.
That was like a roller coaster,
Yeah, I was definitely in the crowd like this. Like, oh, no. Like after he pinned him, I was like, ah, fuck. As I knew he would.
I think I'd prefer a clean win from Roman, though, if they were going to go that way. I think I would have preferred, like, maybe the ref knockout and Cody gets the pin, fine, or that. But I think Roman could have just speared him. I don't think we needed the spike. Like, you can lose to Roman. You can lose to Roman. He's Roman Reigns, and just look awesome.
Yeah, so, yeah. It's their anxiety of like we don't want Cody to look bad. So he got abused. He got too many people on him or whatever. He got distracted or whatever. It's fine. Well, it'll be fine. Wrestling is fine. We started with that with like there's so much wrestling news, and there feels like there's always something going on, and I feel like that's the point. I think they figured out the new kayfabe. It's the internet. It's Twitter. It's all the rumors. It's the Brian Alvarez's and the dirt sheets and the all that shit. I think that's the new kayfabe. People start getting into that, and they're like, "Oh, did you hear? Did you hear Bayley wants to quit?" And then then they tune in just to see if Bayley quit that day.
Right. Yeah. No, I know. It's all part of it. Wrestling is a big work. I mean, yeah. I mean, the Cody story is still going, and that's the beauty.
Yeah, man.
You know.
All right. Well, let's wrap this up. We've been doing it for an hour and 15.
Oh,
normally,
shit, bro. Good time, though.
It was fun. We could do this more. Stay on after we sign off. I just want to ask you a quick question. But tell everybody that's watching and listening where they can hear more of you. Where can they like? What are your dates? What do you got?
Yeah. You could follow me on Instagram. And I'm on Instagram and Twitter. I barely do Twitter. I'm not a big Twitter guy, but at Dan Black Attack. That's my Instagram. You can follow Last Improv Show at Last Improv Show. And the next show we have, I don't know when this is coming out, but is it dropping?
It'll be Tuesday.
Okay, our next show is May 12th. We have Billy Eichner as our guest monologist on that show.
Nice.
May 12th at Dynasty Typewriter. And yeah. And then also I have a show called Comedy Pole Show that I produce, which is at the Virgil at Comedy Pole Show. It's stand-ups and pole dancers.
I was going to say, are there strippers involved?
Yeah. Truthfully, some of them are strippers, but a lot of them are like very athletic pole dancers. It's kind of
like burlesque, you know.
Yeah. It's kind of it blows my mind, some of this stuff, like beautiful stuff. And then the comedians come on, and it's really fun because they're like leaning against the pole. It's awesome. That show's at the Virgil. Next show is June 3rd. I believe in Mae Martin on the show already. And yeah, so I don't know. I gave a lot of plugs there. Yeah, check that stuff out.
Yeah, it's all on your socials. If anybody wants to keep up, make sure to watch his set on James Corden. It was actually really good. He talks about wrestling. So if you're still here with us, you'll enjoy the jokes on that set.
I got a wrestling joke onto network television. I was very proud.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. That's why I hit you up, man. The second I saw you, I saw you at Republic of Lucha. You crushed, right?
That was a good time.
That was a good time hanging out there. And then I saw you again at Hunkamania. I'm like, man, I need to talk to this dude.
Oh, yeah. Fuck yeah. Sorry if I spoke too much.
Dude, it was great.
I was a little caffeinated on here, so I apologize to the listeners if I was annoying.
All right, everyone. I'll see you next time. Please follow Dan Black Attack on Instagram. We'll see you next time.